So, you're starting up your YouTube channel, you want to do these like talking head style videos, you want to make something that looks similar to this or maybe the exact same. I mean, it'd be weird if you did the exact same, but you want to know how to shoot stuff like this. In this video, I'm gonna talk about how I shoot these talking to head style videos, the equipment that I utilize, and how you guys can do it on like a cheaper budget. Maybe you're just starting out, and how to do it when you wanna build a little bit of gear. Without further ado, I'm gonna flip the camera around, show you guys a little bit about what this setup looks like, what the room looks like, and how you guys can get a similar style video. So really quick off the bat, let's give you guys a bit of a tour of what the camera setup looks like. I get a lot of questions what this lens is, the ones that I'm shooting on. This is the Sigma 24 1.4 Art Series lens. It is a crazy, amazing lens, a little expensive, but super well worth it. If we zoom out through here, basically I've got a Rode VideoMic Pro attached to a Magic Arm here. It's because I don't have my lavs. Normally I do these with the lav mic, but if you guys want to get like nice crispy audio, the audio just sounds way better when it's nice and close when you're talking to it. So I use this Magic Arm that connects to this so it gets a little bit closer. The audio sounds a little bit creamier and smoother rather than it going off the top of the camera. And then if we tilt up here, what I've got going on, hey look, this is so weird. It's like Inception. I've got a little iCan monitor here, which is attached to my camera via HDMI. Now, these little features, this thing is not 100% necessary. I actually find it sometimes a little distracting. I'll be looking up at it while I'm doing these videos, but I would highly recommend utilizing some sort of monitor when you can afford it, especially if you're shooting on, let's say, like an A7S or a camera that doesn't have the fold-out screen on the back. You're gonna be making all these fine-tune adjustments. You're gonna watch your video later and be like, oh my God, it was all out of focus. So I'd highly recommend getting one of these when you can. There's a lot of cheap options out there. Again, I'll have a link to a couple brands in the description below. Now, the big thing that you guys are probably thinking is like, oh my God, Zach, you shoot on a Sigma Art Series lens. That's crazy expensive. Yeah, it's like close to $900 or maybe a little bit over, which is a lot of money for this vlog thing. If you guys can't afford that, I would recommend just using a lens, maybe like an 18 to 105 or 24 to 105. Basically, whatever you can utilize to get a nice personal up-close video is great. I like shooting at a really wide aperture, so right now I'm shooting at a 1.4, so like that's how you can get like this nice wide frame with stuff out of focus in the background, but me in focus, and it's a really good cheat code to make any space look a lot better because your eye isn't distracted by all these other things in the background. But if you can't afford this lens, I have a couple other alternatives in the description below, so if you're curious about that, that's all provided. Now let's get the camera off of this. I'm gonna give you guys a bit of a tour around the space, talk about the background, the light that I'm using, that I'm absolutely in love with right now, and some also cheaper alternatives for that. Okay, so the camera is now dismounted, it's taken off. Let's give you a bit of a tour of what's happening around the back of the camera. So over here, I actually have this softbox light that I used for the longest time. I'm not using it anymore, but if you wanna get like nice soft light, you can literally just shoot it up to your ceiling and utilize that as a bounce. Again, not my thing anymore because I've transitioned over to using this Aperture LED light panel. This thing is a freaking beast. I absolutely love it. There's a link to it in the description below. If you're looking to get a nice little light that's super robust and versatile, this thing's the thing to do it. We'll talk a little bit more about it in future videos. Essentially, I have it shooting here. It hits this bounce that I have. I've taken it off and now I'm utilizing it as like a diffusion. And then it shoots off here, hits my sweet face right there. So you're able to get some really nice soft lighting without using anything crazy. Literally, I'm just using this reflector, taking off the screen on the outside and using it as a diffuser. Now, if you can't afford this, that's totally cool. You can use something like a shower curtain and dangle it up. Again, I'm not using any fancy stands. Literally, I'm just using this gym equipment to hold it up. So it's not about what it looks like behind camera, it's how it functions. As long as it's safe, that's all that matters. Okay, and rotating around, let's take a look at the background. What's going on over here? Essentially, I've kind of done this setup. I've always wanted to have like a decent setup as a backdrop, so I've kind of dressed it. If you guys can, if you're shooting the same space constantly, dress the background, make it look nice. Don't overcomplicate it either. So what I've done is I've just got these photos and stuff in the back. What I really like about the color of the wall is it's not super distracting. It's also not crazy reflective. That's the other thing. If you use like a white paint, white on white reflects the light and you don't get a lot of depth within your shot. What I like is this nice muted gray, doesn't have a big reflection, and the light just doesn't reflect off of it too much, so I get a nice vignette so it's not distracting behind me as I'm speaking. Now if we go down here, basically I've got this softbox light, the other one that pairs with this guy over here. It's his brother. And what I've done so that it's not super overpowering is I've put a piece of clothing over top of it, so it's just this nice little subtle glow. So this is it, like super bright, way too bright, burning my eyes and probably my sensor here. And I just have this fabric over the top, so it's not overwhelming in the back. And it's just this nice little subtle glow onto the back of the wall. Super crispy, super nice. I've got this practical lamp. Not super crazy about it, I'll probably adjust that, but having practicals in the back to make the space look lived in is really smart and really functional. It gives a bit of a color depth between the space, so we're not just getting this white light, we're getting a bit of this stuff to break up the background. Again, this is just kind of my whole setup here. This is all my stuff. You can always keep expanding and working off of practicals. I'll probably start applying like different little practicals in here to light this stuff in the back, but again, keep it clean, keep it organized, not overwhelming. Utilize a practical light, and if you want to just juice it up and make it look a little fancy, you can just add subtle glows. And it doesn't have to make sense in reality for your lights. This doesn't, like, that thing doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense, the fact that it's there, but it looks cool in the back, and that's all that matters. If you guys don't, and really quick, if you guys don't have a big fancy light, if you just shut it off here, you can use a window as a softbox. You utilize like just that as your practical. So basically it kind of goes in price range here. If you don't have any money, utilize a window. And if you have a little bit more money, use a softbox. If you have just a little bit more, you can get this thing. And that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to take a look at some more, I highly recommend taking a look at that YouTube page. There's some other really great content there. Basically, bare bones minimum, all you need is a camera, microphone, and you guys can shoot these talking to head videos. Now, if you want them to look at this level of quality, put a little bit more time into stuff like your background, get some decent lighting. You know, you can always build up your kit. When I started doing these videos, if we look back, the quality wasn't that great. I was using my window as my source light. I was using a like 24-105 Canon like kit lens, and just there was a lot of things that didn't work, but the content was there first. And recognize that good gear will help you look more professional, but it won't make you sound better. And by that I mean it's not going to make your vocabulary any better, it's not going to make your content better, it's just going to give it a higher quality. So I'd recommend practice talking in front of camera, practice all this stuff, because the more gear and bells and whistles that you implement, the harder it will be to set up, so it'll be more distracting. So just really nail down this thing, talking to camera, before you start spending all this money on this expensive gear. People are very forgiving when it comes to content over quality. If you have really good content, they'll kind of forgive the quality of that content, and they'll stay with you until it gets better. So with all that being said, hopefully this is helpful. All of the gear as well as price tag for those gears is in the description below. If you guys have any gear that you prefer, or maybe even recommendations of what you should use, I'd love to read that in the comments. Check all that fun stuff out. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later. Take care and keep making some great stuff.